So I've written down what I know, everything I know. So do you want to hear it?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is about my mother, who was born in 1914. I can do that.
Yeah, he'll give it to me because he's a good guy.
Yeah.
On tape.
Okay. So she was born in 1914 and she died in 74. And I write, we are indeed curious creatures who would love to resurrect relics of the past and be able to re-encounter a myriad of memories that were not necessarily ours but belonged to those departed loved ones. My mother, Warszawski Kotek, was born on Rosh Hashanah 1914 in Stulskovola, predominantly a weaving town like the neighbouring town of Pabianice where my father comes from. They were both satellites of Lodz, which along with Manchester were the world weaving capital cities. Yitzhak Meyer and Esther had 9 children. There are 8 sisters, Hannah, Freda, Sora, Fremid, Ruchel, and 2 others whose names I don't know, as well as a brother Menachem. My grandfather was a Garachursid. His business was based in Warsaw, where he, together with his son, operated a large trucking and transport business. He would train to Warsaw and come home for Shabbos. He was not only very wealthy, but tall and very charismatic. I was told that people would naturally turn to observe him as he walked, thanks to Mr. and Mrs. Blitzblood. Otherwise I wouldn't have known that. My mother was so proud of him and said that he sat at the right hand of the rabbi, the Gara rabbi. There was no greater honour and it gave me enormous bragging rights as I was growing up. He and his son smuggled the Gara rabbi out of Poland when the war was commencing. I always asked her why and was told that he knew the impending fate. I asked, if my grandfather knew, then why did he return? The answer was, it was God's will. My parents met in Stulskovola. My father would often visit Rayla, a cousin who was an adopted sister, who married a man from Stulskovola. My mother was a good friend of Rayla's sister-in-law who lived with her. Dad would meet Mum there. He was interested in my mother, but feared her father, as Dad was in a different social class and was not a Chassid, but a member of Hashomer Hadati, which is Mizrahi. Mum also told him that her father would not allow them to marry. My father's brother-in-law was a successful leather merchant, whose big customer was the mayor of Stulskovola. So Dad would go there every week or 2 on business and see my mother. On army leave, Dad met my mother's mother and my mother's sisters. Shortly after, my mother told her parents that she wanted to marry him. It was very hard to travel at this time. Jews weren't allowed to travel on trains, but the ghetto wasn't formed as yet. The wedding was held in Lodz because Mum's parents couldn't risk coming to Pabianice because my grandfather still had a beard and payas, and if they caught him they would have cut off his beard and probably killed him. My parents then stayed in Warsaw for 2 to 3 months with my mother's brother before smuggling their way back to Pabianice on foot, dodging the SS. When Dad was taken to the concentration camps, he didn't see my mother again until about 6 months after liberation. She'd been in the Lodz ghetto, Warsaw ghetto, Ravensbrück and Auschwitz. She was a charismatic survivor, the dowager of the family, who tragically died in 74. This is an addendum. When we were in Jerusalem in 1998, there was a painting in an art gallery, I don't know if you remember this, Doris, on George HaMelech. It was on a page of a Warsaw newspaper, and Dad showed us that the address on the newspaper was the same as where my grandfather had his business in Lodz. I regret not writing it down. I regret not writing down the names of my mother's siblings. I regret that I didn't ask Stulskovola survivors questions. My mother's sister Freda survived the war and married a Mr. Gershon. She died in Brooklyn in approximately 1962. Freda's son Mendel told me, and Mendel was a Baba Warszawski in Brooklyn. And the girl he married, Brindle, her father, it's an interesting story I wrote down, her father was a Garachossid who went to visit the Garin Rebbe in Israel every year. When Mendel was to be married, he wrote to the Garin Rebbe asking for his blessings, and he never heard back. When Mendel went to Israel, he visited the Garin Rebbe. He told me that he lined up in a long queue. Nobody asked who he was, nor anything else. And when his turn came at the head of the queue, the rabbi nodded to him, and my cousin left without any verbal communication taking place. The following year, his father-in-law visited his rabbi, and the rabbi said to him, "Your son-in-law was here. He asked if I sent him blessings for his wedding. I told him that I had. He also asked me if I remembered his family in Poland, and I told him that I had." And that's my story.